I'm a developer for one of the major food delivery apps that just about everybody has on their phone. Anytime that you see and click an option for priority delivery or a driver's benefit fee, you're actively being scammed. 100% of those fees collected go straight to the company, and your driver doesn't see a penny. I'm posting this from a library on their Wi-Fi on a burner laptop because I'm technically under a massive NDA. I don't care anymore though. I just put in my 2 weeks yesterday, and honestly, I hope they sue me. I've been sitting on this for about 8 months now, just watching the code getting pushed to production. And I'm having a hard time sleeping at night knowing that I helped to build this machine. You guys always suspect that the algorithms are rigged against you, but the reality is actually so much more depressing than the conspiracy theories out there. I'm a back-end engineer. I sit in the weekly sprint planning meetings where product managers discuss how to squeeze another 0.4% margin out of human assets. That's literally what they call drivers in the database schemas. They talk about these people like they're resource nodes in a video game, not mothers and fathers just trying to pay rent. First off, priority delivery, total scam. It was pitched to us as a psychological value add. Like I said, when you pay that extra $2.99, it changes a few things in the back-end code, but the dispatch logic just ignores it. It does absolutely nothing to speed up your order. We actually ran an A/B test last year where we didn't speed up the priority orders. We just purposefully delayed non-priority orders by about 5 to 10 minutes. This was done in order to make the priority ones feel faster by comparison. Management loved the results. We generated millions in pure profit just by making the standard service worse, not by making the premium service better. But the thing that actually makes me sick, and the main reason that I'm quitting, is the desperation score. You see, there are hidden metrics for drivers that track just how desperate they are for cash, based on their acceptance behavior. I'll give you an example. If a driver usually logs on at 10 p.m., and accepts every garbage $3 order instantly without hesitation, the algorithm tags them as high desperation. Once a driver's tagged, the system then deliberately stops showing them high-paying orders. The logic here is, why pay this schmo $15 for a run when we know that he's desperate enough to do it for $6? We save the good tips for the casual drivers in order to hook them and gamify their experience, all while the full-timers get ground into dust. Then there's that benefit fee. You've probably seen that $1.50 regulatory response fee or driver's benefit fee. Different names for the same thing. And these appeared on your bill after the recent labor laws passed. The wording here is designed to make you feel like you're helping the worker. But in reality, that money goes straight to a corporate slush fund, one used to lobby against driver unions. We have a specific internal cost center for policy defense, and that fee that you pay feeds directly into it. So just to connect A to B here for you, the customers are actually paying for the high-end lawyers that are fighting to keep your delivery guy homeless. Regarding tips, we're essentially doing tip theft 2.0. We don't steal them legally anymore because we got sued for that. Instead, we just use predictive modeling to dynamically lower the base pay for drivers. If the algo predicts that you're a high tipper and you'll likely drop $10, it offers the driver a measly $2 base pay. If you tip 0, it offers them $8 base pay just to get the food moved. The result is that your generosity isn't rewarding the driver, it's subsidizing the company. You're the ones paying their wage. Also, we don't have to. I'm drunk and I'm angry. I encourage you guys to ask me anything before this gets taken down. Additionally, once I'm neither drunk nor angry, or at least just less of those things, I plan on finding a way to take this to the media. I don't know what'll come from it. I can't tell the future. But I know that this is hurting too many people for me to stay silent about it. I've been sitting on this for 5 years now, and I don't talk about it with anyone in my real life. My dad doesn't know, and likely never will, that he isn't actually my biological father. For context, my dad is in his 60s. I'm 30. He's the man who raised me, the man I've always known as my dad, and nothing about that has changed for me. But a lot of things shifted during the pandemic in a way that I don't think I would have ever seen coming. Back when everyone was stuck inside, my boyfriend and I decided, kind of impulsively, that it would be fun to do one of those ancestry DNA tests. I wasn't expecting to learn anything dramatic. If anything, I was just curious about my ethnicity. I thought I already knew my family history. I mean, I knew my family. Or at least, that's what I thought up until that point. When the email came in saying that my results were ready, I logged into the app without a second thought, and almost immediately, my stomach dropped. Right there on the screen was a DNA match labeled as a likely parent. It was for a man, and this man wasn't my dad. At first, I honestly thought that there had to be some kind of mistake, but the percentage of shared DNA didn't leave room for doubt. This wasn't a fluke. This person wasn't a distant relative of mine. This was someone biologically close enough to be my father. The first person I contacted was my mom, even though we're not close at all. Our relationship has always been strained, but I figured if anyone could help to explain this, it would be her. That conversation went nowhere fast. She was cold, dismissive, and honestly kind of cruel about it. She claimed that she had no idea who the man was, acted like I was the one being dramatic. By that point, I had already started digging on my own. Her response didn't surprise me as much as it probably should have. She brushed it off by saying that she was young and dumb back then, that she had been sleeping around, and that she couldn't possibly remember. But that was the extent of the explanation that I got. Realizing just how fragile the situation was, I tried my best to immediately lock down everything I could. I removed all personal identifying information from my ancestry profile, made my family tree private, and did everything I could to keep my identity hidden. The last thing that I wanted was for this to blow up and actually reach the man who raised me, or anyone else in my family for that matter. I did send one message to the account that matched as a biological parent, but I never got a response. It looked like the account had been created by another family member on his behalf, which only made things a bit more complicated. So I kept digging. Using the family trees that were public, I eventually came across someone that I believed might be my cousin. I'll admit it, I stalked their Instagram. After going back and forth with myself, I made the leap to reach out. This person was shocked, like truly shocked. He asked me a ton of questions, wanted details, even asked me to send baby pictures of myself. This conversation started to feel pretty strange, and that's when things started to click into place. His dad's name was the same name as the man that I had matched with on Ancestry. At first, he tried to explain it away by saying the DNA match must be his grandfather who had passed away, but that didn't add up. The name on the account matched his dad's, and when I dug deeper, I saw that the person managing the Ancestry account was listed as his sister, which, by everything that I know now, would make her my sister as well. Not even 2 weeks after I spoke to this man, who I now actually believe is my half-brother, I got a brand new DNA match on Ancestry. The thing was that this person had no real name. It was just a coded username. And the relationship estimate? Potential sibling. The surrealness from this entire time period feels even more mind-boggling now. The reason behind why my half-brother had started to act so strangely began to make sense. If our relationship was true, and I believe it to be, then that would mean that his dad, our biological father, had cheated on his mom with mine and gotten her pregnant. From what I can tell, his parents aren't together anymore. They appear to be a big, close-knit family though, educated, pretty well off. The kind of family that presents a certain way from the outside. That's when I had to ask myself a hard question. Am I really trying to open this door? The answer to that was no. The man who raised me is my dad. That part will never change. I don't feel any differently about him. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. And I know without a doubt that if this secret ever came out, it would destroy him. I think it would hurt him more than anything else in this world ever could. So instead, I just let it be. I backed off and stopped digging, and I didn't respond to any new matches. This is a secret that I'll carry for the rest of my life, and I'm okay with that. Other than sharing it here, of course. I figure that some truths just don't need to be spoken to be real. Apparently, I've been a horrible person my entire life, and only recently have I realized it. I'm 20 years old, male, and I'm mostly just posting this because I have a compulsion to confess things. I believe this comes from an undiagnosed case of OCD, but I also have hopes that I can maybe sort out my feelings and emotions a bit by sharing. I'm not mentally stable whatsoever. I'm almost incapable of caring for myself at present. You probably won't care about that part for long, as this story is mostly centered around how despicable I am. Let's just jump in. Part 1. Early childhood. This is the part that I struggle to remember the most. Ages 1 through 10 are mostly non-existent to me, but I'll try my best to give you a coherent story based on my fragments. I was told when I was 17 that I was an accidental pregnancy. According to my dad, he spontaneously decided while in the abortion clinic that he wanted to raise me and walked out with my mom. My mom passed away when I was 5, and I don't really remember her either. I see photos of her and don't recognize her. My dad took to drugs when she passed and quickly found another woman to be with. She was awful. I was forced to forfeit my bedroom for my new stepsister, who I believe was roughly 14 or 15 at the time, although I don't really have a solid idea. In the living room, that became my bedroom. My life from ages 6 to 10 became just going to school, eating dinner alone, watching TV, and then going to bed. My new stepmother tried to convince my dad to put me up for adoption, and I remember I made a silly pun with her name. She proceeded to get furious at this, telling my dad that I'm a heathen of a child and that they needed to get rid of me. I don't remember any consistent physical or abuse of a different sort, but I do have a smattering of memories that make me uncomfortable in retrospect, such as my father showering with me up until the age of 9 or 10, in addition to my stepsister applying lipstick to me and kissing me when I was like 7, 8, and 9. Of course, these examples aren't that serious compared to those who were actually abused, but still, they stand out to me. My dad left that woman when I was 10, and he quickly met my current stepmom after that. Part 2. Later childhood and early teens. My current stepmom entering my life brought my stepbrother and stepsister into my life too. They're all still actively here to this day. I ended up becoming addicted to pornography around this time. I had already discovered porn around the age of 8, but at 12, that's when I actually used it to relieve stress. This contributed towards me being a perpetrator of COXA towards my brother and a friend of mine at the time. For those of you that might be unaware, that's an acronym that stands for Child on Child, SA. I also have a memory of doing this to a much younger child, but I now believe that this was just an intrusive thought that has stuck in my mind for all these years. I got away with what I did, but soon realized that what I did was bad and wanted to do something about it. I tried to confess to my dad what I did, and all he told me was to keep my mouth shut, since my stepmother would leave him if she found out. I ended up just repressing these memories until very recently. I developed anxiety issues and intrusive thoughts. I was convinced that I was a cannibal for a good few weeks there. My father refused to help me with any of this and just kept telling me that I was overthinking things. This eventually instilled a feeling of worthlessness in me. I was also exposed to Omegle after my brother received pictures from an older woman online. I ended up getting taken advantage of by adults after basically going online and saying, "Yeah, I'm a child. Here, exploit me. This is a feeling that I got hooked on from the ages of 12 to 15, and I'd often exchange photos with random people online as my main stress relief. There were age gaps that I'm not proud of, like me being 15 and someone being 12, me being 14 and someone being 18. Part 3, later teenage years. Okay, yeah, admittedly, I talked about my teenage years a bit before, but whatever. At the age of 14, I was obsessed with being cool. My stepbrother was a role model to me. I was some video game enjoying nerd, and he was having sex by the age of 11, which, with the power of retrospect, I realized just how fucked up that is. I ended up getting involved with my stepbrother's group of friends, a giant group of teens acting like gangsters who smoked weed and drank alcohol 24/7. The head of the group was a 17-year-old girl that was always having sex with some 14-year-old boy. Despite how hard I tried, although including the fact of how creepy, perverted, and terrible my behavior was, I never lost my V card. After some searching within myself, I realized that I didn't want any part of this stuff. I cut myself off from pretty much everyone that my values didn't align with. I went from a borderline high school dropout to one of the top performers over my last couple of years. Part 4, reaching adulthood. I dropped out of college soon after the year I began. I went into a form of isolation, one that I'm still in to this day. During this point, I got incredibly close with my current best friend. She was the only light in the tunnel as I started having suicidal thoughts. I tried telling my dad about these thoughts, and he told me to just stop thinking about it, saying, "Well, are you going to do it? No? Then don't talk about it again." So my best friend became really the only positive person in my life. She was my reason to wake up every day, in the midst of rotting in my bed and not knowing what I was going to do with my guilt. However, I just realized how horrible I'd been to her. I've been a massive pervert, as I never really learned how to interact with women in normal ways from my years on the internet. I simply interacted with her the only way I knew how to. I would ask random dirty questions, say dirty things unprompted, hoping that she would reciprocate. I didn't realize that I was doing anything bad for the longest time. This walks me to part 5, my current moment. I still live at home. My family is just as toxic as ever, despite most of them having moved out. Everyone pretty much just exploits my grandma for her money. Some even straight up steal from her. I don't do anything to stop the neglect of my grandma. It's not that I don't want to. I do. I've tried. But not only have my efforts not been enough, I actively get told to simply not do shit a lot of the time. Even my grandma tells me not to do things for her because she doesn't want to be a bother. So I simply try my best to ignore everything around me. I'm still close with my best friend despite everything. I ended up ghosting her not that long ago, due to my own hangups. And she ended up reaching out to make sure that I was okay. I've gotten better at controlling myself and just knowing when not to say things in general. But I'd be lying if I said I don't still say some stupid shit. My suspected OCD has never been worse. I've been having absolutely horrifying intrusive thoughts and false memories. I can't see a child on TV without freaking the fuck out. I struggle to be around my family as they usually just lounge around mostly naked, and it makes me incredibly uncomfortable. I've been pretty much incapable of doing anything for months, obsessing over old memories 24/7 and trying to find answers for things that I just can't seem to find. I'm mortified at the pain I've caused or what more I could have caused. None of these things line up with my values. I've cried a lot lately, which isn't normal for me. I normally only cry maybe once a year. Now I've cried 6 different times in the last month alone. I want to be a good person. That's it, honestly. Fame, fortune, a family, I don't give a fuck about any of that. All I want is to somehow redeem myself despite all of this. I specifically want to be better for my friend. My family is horribly toxic, and every other person I've ever wronged hasn't been in my life for years, but her, she not only is still in my life despite it all, but it's clear that she only wants the best for me. and she's doing everything in her power to help me heal from all the pain that's happened in this house. Anyway, I suppose I could write much more, but I don't have the strength left to do it at the moment. I'm not sharing this for sympathy. I'm sharing this because I feel like I'm at my darkest and my lowest just about every day. It's a horrible feeling, one that I wouldn't wish on anyone. But that's my reality, and I just don't know how to shake it. I've had my own traumas, and in turn, brought traumas to others around me. I hate myself for that, and I don't know what path to take to make amends and find forgiveness, even just for myself.